The part that was interesting is that where he was kind of projected to go, where you had that range of picks where it seemed like he's going to go somewhere in here, right? Between here and here.
Yeah.
And he went the last possible point of that.
Yeah.
So like you said a few episodes ago when we were talking about the draft coming up and stuff, everyone is disappointed except the first overall pick.
That's right.
Every single kid gets some level of disappointment. Yeah. And although Charlie was super happy and whatever,
honestly couldn't
be happier for sure. But he could have went higher, and now in the back of his head still is going to be like, man, I like just missed the first round.
Yeah. Well, now you got the attitude is okay. I'm going to show those guys when we play them.
Right.
Right up the coach's ass now.
Well, which is great.
Which is great. But it's like,
but it's still like, well, like I should have went first round. Like I can't believe they picked that guy. Like that guy wasn't. And we had some of that. That when we were talking, watching the draft. Yeah. I was like, well, this kid, and we were just kind of like saying to Charlie and some of the family that were watching, we were kind of goofing around, making jokes about it and stuff, but for the most part, it's just like you don't know why they're picking, and something I said to you yesterday or even today, like it wasn't the like Charlie Paquette draft. Like that's not what it's about. It's not about Charlie. Like nobody cares about Charlie.
No, it's not your draft.
Yeah, it's not your draft. It's they're picking kids that they need for their team, and you may or may not be one of them. It's not about you, even though from the family perspective, that's what it feels like. You're the centerpiece. Whether not just for any kid that got drafted.
Every
it's like
kid.
You just think it's about you, and you're worried about you, or when they said they were going to take you, they didn't take you. And like, well, why didn't they take me? Well, they might not even be thinking about you.
Yeah.
Like you think they are, but they might not be.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a bit of a debate through our household and through, people that have kids that play hockey. And the debate is like, for example, our local team didn't draft anybody from a very good crop of kids, local kids. And the question is, and this will probably piss some people off, but it's just the reality. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not, because other teams tend to pick local kids when as the later rounds go, and that could be a marketing thing, or it might not be. It might think it might be the best player available. But it was like, well, why them and why not our local kid? Like why? Like we have one of the best teams, and like why wouldn't they just take local kids? And I understand that, I do. Because I think it would be good for local, but I think that you really do have to put the perspective on, like, because I can, because I own a business. So when you're owning a business, and that's what the OHL is and the NHL is, it's entertainment stuff, but at the end of the day, it's a business. And in a business, you're trying to put, like, do I hire someone for PowerTech just because I know them or I'm familiar with them? Or do I hire the who I feel the best person for the job should be? And if I'm trying to run my business right and have the best results, I want to take the best people that I can have to work in my business. Mm-hmm. And that could offend people. And that's what I feel that part of the draft is when people kind of just would like, well, why not me? Well, again, it goes back to my point is if you're not the best player on the ice day after day after day, then that's the issue. Mm-hmm. And I'm not being negative, because I also see the other side is, you have local kids, why not just take them? Well, but then you're like, and you're minimizing, you can minimize the pick now. If you say, well, we'll just take local kids now. I'm not saying that they wouldn't be the best picks. I mean, there's some kids on our team that I really felt, I was hoping that they would get drafted. I think that they are good enough to get drafted somewhere, and they didn't. It sucks. It just sucks. But this is a shit sandwich, and I'm not minimizing that, by the way.
No, I know you're not. But
I don't ever want to come across like, hey, too bad you didn't get drafted, you weren't good. That's not what I mean.
Well, the point is, like, you don't know why they're making the decisions they're making. Like, you have no idea what their plan was. You have no idea what it's easy from the outside to think that. Because
I could say, like, okay, so just to be asshole here, so our local, the Windsor Spitfires had the 20th pick. So if obviously that would have been a really good pick to take my kid. Mm-hmm. Really, honestly, right?
Yeah, for sure.
They didn't. So we could go down that road too and say, well, they could have just taken a really good local kid that's marketable, that's really nice, knows the family, knows the owners, all this kind of stuff. We could have went that way, and we could be disappointed. But they didn't. Yeah. It's all good.
Well, and that's the point. You don't know what their decision making was. You don't know what they were looking for. You don't know any of that. And that's a good way that you just put it. Talking about it was, that people don't really think about, especially because we always talk the kids are so young, is they are hiring your kid. Yep. Like that is what they're trying to do.
Your kid.
Your kid is getting a job. Like that is the way to think about it. It's not your kid is getting rewarded for playing well. It's I'm hiring your kid to do a good job.
Or potential.